Hey everybody, it's your boy Big Ben Chunko coming at you with the First and Blast podcast. And today is Thursday, which it's finally kickoff, thank goodness. Football's back. You got the Ravens and the Chiefs hooking it up tonight. It's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to bring you start and sit receivers today. And before we get started with that, remember you can find me on X at ChunkoBen. Stop in, shoot me a message. I always love talking about sports. All right, so the first game tonight is the Chiefs and the Ravens. So we'll start with that one, okay? So for the Ravens, you're going to play Zay Flowers. You know what I mean? Play Zay Flowers. He would be the only Ravens receiver I'd play other than Mark Andrews. So stick with him. And for the Chiefs, I'd go with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. And obviously you're going to play Travis Kelce, as your tight end. So we got those two. So we got that first game done. So we'll move on to the next game. The next game would be the Packers and the Eagles. Now this game's a little more... with the Packers, it's a little more complicated, I believe, because you have 4 viable options depending on how deep of a league you're in. And with the Packers, you got a Jaden Reed, a Christian Watson, a Romeo Dobbs, and Octavian Wicks. Now, I definitely feel comfortable going with Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. Now, in a deeper league, Romeo Dobbs would definitely be an option. I probably wouldn't play Dontavian Wicks unless it was an absolute must, or maybe in a format like DFS where you're just looking for a cheap player to fill in there that definitely has a chance of, scoring you a touchdown, getting you yards. Okay, so now we'll start on the Sunday games. We got the Panthers at the Saints. For the Panthers, I'm playing Deontay Johnson, and that's it. I'm sitting Xavier Legette and Adam Thielen. I think Legette's going to come on later on in the season, but right now, it's hard to trust a rookie. You have no idea what he's going to do or how that's going to turn out for him. And Adam Thielen, he started out last year strong, but they really didn't have anybody else. They have Deontay Johnson now. So stick with Deontay Johnson for the Panthers. For the Saints, I'd go with Chris Olave, and I would sit Rashid Shaheed. I've never been a big Shaheed guy to begin with, so stay with, and obviously Chris, obviously you're going to play Chris Olave. You drafted him in the second round, you're going to play him, and he has a really favorable matchup. So the next game, Minnesota and New York. It's another game that's a little crazy because, you got Minnesota. Obviously, you're playing Justin Jefferson. Hands down, I don't care who's throwing the football. It could be a high school quarterback, and I'm playing Justin Jefferson. Now, Jordan Addison. I feel comfortable playing Jordan Addison, so if you have him, play him. I know I have him in a few leagues, and I'll definitely roll him out. Because I don't think I'm not saying Sam Darnold's some top dog, awesome, quarterback, but I don't think he's as bad. He's been in really bad situations. And, and I think he's going to be okay. You think about it, he was with the Jets and he was with the Panthers. That's just not a good situation to be in as a starter, especially, back then it was really bad. So I would play both those guys. New York, really with Daniel Jones, that whole offense is probably going to be miserable. I play Malik Neighbors, and unless you would have to, you could play Wan'Dale Robinson, or Darius Slayton or someone like that. But other than that, I would just stick with Malik Neighbors. So then we got the Raiders and the Chargers. I'll make this real easy. For the Raiders, play Devontae Adams, play Jacoby Myers. I know people are saying that, Gardner Minshew isn't going to be able to support 2 guys. But, you almost, at this point, Jacoby Myers is good enough that you have to play him. I mean, if you draft him, unless he's like the 4th or 5th receiver on your team and you don't have to play him, I mean, obviously then don't play him. But, I feel comfortable rolling out Jacoby Myers. The Chargers, I'm not playing any of their receivers. I'm sitting them all this week. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to see how that plays out. And we got the Broncos and the Seahawks. Make it real easy for the Broncos. Play Cortland Sutton, and that's it. For Seattle, I'd go with DK Metcalf. I would sit JSN this week and Tyler Lockett because nobody knows. Those two are going to be competing, for that receiver 2 role. And you really don't know where it's going to go yet. So unless you need them like in an extremely deep league, just go with DK Metcalf. And you've got the Cowboys in Cleveland. Another simple game. Cowboys, go with CeeDee Lamb. Sit Brandon Cooks. Unless you need Cooks, you're in some really crazy deep league. But other than that, you go with CeeDee Lamb. And with Cleveland, I'm comfortable going with Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy. I know, Jerry Jeudy, he kind of got a bad rap over there in Denver. Again, I don't believe any of that was his fault. It was miserable quarterback play he was stuck with. And, even when Russell Wilson came to Denver, I mean, that was still miserable. It didn't help him or Cortland Sutton, you know what I mean? So I think Jerry Jeudy, I think Deshaun Watson's going to be better than he's been. And I think, Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy are both good plays this week. Then you got Washington and Tampa Bay. Washington, you're going to play Terry McLaurin, sit everybody else. After Terry McLaurin, and since Jahan Dotson got traded, there's really not too much going on there. So just stick with Terry McLaurin and that's it. And with Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, you definitely have to play those guys. I think Chris Godwin's going to be really good this year. They moved him back. They said he's going to get more play out of the slot, so he's really going to blow it up. And Mike Evans, Mike Evans had a good year last year. He's going to have a good year this year. And I don't think, I know Baker Mayfield isn't everybody's favorite. A lot of people are always down on him. But he's not a bad quarterback, and he's able to support 2 receivers. Then we got the Rams and the Lions. For the Rams, you're going to play Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Everybody else after that, leave them be for now. And the Lions, I'm just going with Amon St. Brown. I'm not gonna roll the dice with Jameis Williams, yet. I want to see what he can do for a week. And there's really and the thing is, if you're in a 12-man standard league, unless you drafted like 5 running backs in a row, there's no reason to play Jameis Williams at this point, And then we got the Jets and okay. I'll do the Jets and 49ers game, but that's a Monday game, but that's cool. I mean, in a redraft league you're going to be playing it. Go with Garrett Wilson, sit Mike Williams. San Fran, you're going to go with Deebo Samuels, and this has been a big debate. Everyone's saying about Brandon Ayuk because he didn't play all summer, and they're acting like this guy's not like an elite athlete. He just sat around, eating potato chips and watching TV. I mean, listen, you drafted Brandon Ayuk probably in the 3rd round. You're going to play him. I don't care if he sat all summer. I mean, these guys don't sit all summer. I mean, just because he wasn't practicing with the team, he's an elite athlete. He has trainers. He knows how to train himself. And here's the thing. He just got a big contract. And I think he's going to come out swinging. And I know everyone's worried because Sauce Gardner is going to be defending him. But listen, you're going to run into matchups like this every single week with your top guys. At some point they're going to run into a defensive back. They're going to run into a DB, cornerback, safety, and they're going to have a tough matchup. But you drafted this guy for this reason. So stick with him. Yeah, Sauce Gardner guy's a beast. But that doesn't mean Ayuk still doesn't have a good week. Who says Sauce Gardner's not going to have a bad day? Everyone said, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's so sure Sauce Gardner's going to shut him down. Well, how do you know? So stick with Brandon Ayuk and you'll be all right. Okay, then we got the Steelers and the Falcons. The Steelers, easy. George Pickens, that's it. Everyone else, untested. We don't know much about them. Definitely worried about Russell Wilson. And even if they would make a change to Justin Fields, still not all that confident. The Falcons, you got Drake London. Obviously, you're playing Drake London. And I wouldn't have any problem playing Darnell Mooney either. I know a lot of people saying sit him, but hey, here's the thing. Everybody talked this guy up. All preseason through camp, all I heard was Mooney. Then all of a sudden it comes time to put him in a start-sit lineup, and everyone's saying, oh, you want to sit Mooney. Well, you just talked the guy up all summer. And to me, I don't have a problem putting in Darnell Mooney. I think he'll do okay. I don't think he's going to have 150 yards for 3 touchdowns, anything like that. But I'd have no problem playing Darnell Mooney this week if I had to. Then we got the Cardinals and the Bills. So the Cardinals, you're going to play Marvin Harrison. I'm really not in love with that. I stayed away in redraft league with Marvin Harrison. Obviously in Dynasty, if you could get him, jackpot. But you're going to play Marvin Harrison Jr. every week because chances are you draft him in the early second round. So you're going to play him, you're going to roll with him and hope for the best. As far as, I'm going to sit Michael Wilson this week. The Bills are still a tough defense, so I wouldn't get too cute there with the receiver. And then the Bills, to me, I wouldn't oppose sitting all Bills receivers this week. But if you had to play one, I'd play Keon Coleman. You could play Khalil Shakir or Curtis Samuels, I guess. But, I'd probably avoid Bills receiver. All them guys you drafted late anyway. Probably your 4th receiver. So, so there's really not a reason to put them out this week. I don't think they're going to have that hard of a time in Arizona. But, I would stick. If you had to, Keon Coleman. Then you got the Titans and the Bears. The Titans, I'd play Calvin Ridley. And then sit DeAndre Hopkins because there's been different reports, he's coming off an injury. So, I wouldn't, I'm not chancing it. If he does play, I'm not chancing it. So leave him alone. And then the Bears, I'd play DJ Moore. And I would sit Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze. We don't know what, I'm pretty sure. It looks like Keenan Allen got that second spot, and Rome Odunze, there's really no reason to pull out a rookie receiver at this point. Sit him, see what he can do. He's going to overthrow, Keenan Allen at some point this season. So, so just be patient with him. There's no need to put him in there and get 3 points off him, And then we have the Patriots and Bengals. Patriots, sit all the receivers unless you have to. If you have to play one, play DeMario Douglas. Other than that, I'm not playing anyone because after Douglas, it's rookies. You're not going to take that chance. And then the Bengals, obviously Jamar Chase plays. You're going to play Jamar Chase. And T. Higgins. You're going to play T. Higgins too. T. Higgins is even better if Jamar Chase doesn't play. That'll definitely be a better situation for T. Higgins. So you want to go Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and then you got a Houston and the Colts. Houston, play all those guys: Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, and Tank Dell. If you have them, roll them all out. If you were going to sit one, I would sit Tank Dell if I was going to pick to sit one. But I think I'd feel comfortable. I'd feel comfortable playing all 3 of those guys. The Colts, I'm playing Michael Pittman. I am sitting Josh Downs and A.D. Mitchell. Only because Downs got banged up. And A.D. Mitchell, another rookie. I think the guy's going to be good. But just wait to see what he can do. And then the last game we have is the Jaguars and the Dolphins. We'll start with the Dolphins because it's pretty easy. Play Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I don't really think I need to explain why. The Jaguars, it's a little different situation here. Everyone's really high on Brian Thomas Jr. I would probably sit him. I don't really roll out rookies in my teams right away because, you also got Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis. So, all these guys would other than Christian Kirk, I'd be okay sitting both these guys. And I like Gabe Davis. Like, I'm going to roll him out in a dynasty league. So, it is what it is on that. But, I would say Christian Kirk and then the rest of the guys if you need them. All right, guys, that's my start and sit for the receivers, I like to make it nice and quick. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of stats because, let's face it, stats were last year. They mean nothing. This is a whole new year. I don't really get down and dirty with stats because I just think, they really don't mean anything. They were last year's stats. We see it every year. New guys emerge. Studs go, studs don't do what they do. It happens. But okay, guys, I want y'all to enjoy the games tonight. Well, the game tonight. Unless you're flipping back and forth, because there's always college football on Thursdays also. But all right, y'all, you guys have a good one. If you see this on YouTube, smash that subscribe, and like it. And I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Happy football.